Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. For people who are well read, or maybe not even well read, you could remember what Pax Romana was, right? Well, it was under the dominance of Rome, the city-state that expanded. They would protect the territories, and they would send, or they were spread their culture, civilization, and under the peace provided by the Roman army, their values and Roman law and other stuff that come actually from a lot of values and cultural things come from ancient Greeks, which was their example of a civilization. So they just took the torch from the Greeks and went further, and then someone extinguished it, and we can't say who. But now we have Russia doing the same thing, or at least trying to do this, which is trying to protect and promote the country's values, traditions, and protect its interest and national interest and how should I put it, people's interest of Slavic origins. So let's see what happens here. Actually, is a very, I would say, very important piece of policy, or the doctrine, that Russia just approved it. In this case, Putin approved it. So this article comes from Reuters from September 5, 2022. Putin approves new foreign policy doctrine based on quote-unquote Russian world, not Pax Romana, Russian world. And let's read part of it, and then we can see what I think it all means, or what I can interpret out of it from what I'm allowed to read here. President Vladimir Putin on Monday approved a new foreign policy doctrine based around the concept of a quote-unquote Russian world, a notion that conservative ideologues have used to justify intervention abroad in support of Russian speakers. Well, this is their interpretation, a notion that conservative. Yeah, okay. The 31-page humanitarian policy, quote-unquote, published more than 6 months into the war in Ukraine, says Russia should, quote-unquote, these are the keywords, protect, safeguard, and advance the traditions and ideas of the Russian world. So they take it like this. Well, we are part of the Western civilization with our traditions, with our ideas, values, which belongs to Europe. And now from Europe, it seems like Europe is going in a different direction, according to the Russians. And that direction that goes is the woke direction, which in the Russians' view, no religion, no tradition, and all kind of perversions, and in the Russian view, a big deviation from the civilization of Europe, which Russia thinks that Europe will collapse due to the new ideas or values it tries to impose with money. That's how they do it. The European Union is Brussels and says, okay, this is a new rule. We should respect this kind of rights. The new value is this. And you have to agree with it, otherwise you're not going to receive money from Brussels, who borrows the money from bankers. I just say it in a very, very short way, but basically that's what it is. And if you don't do that, you're not going to receive money, but you're going to receive money, and you're going to be left behind, let's put it this way. So let's see what else these guys are saying. While presented as a kind of soft power strategy, it enshrines in official policy ideas around Russian policies and religion that some hardliners have used to justify Moscow's operation of parts of Ukraine and support for breakaway pro-Russian entities in the east of the country. You can ignore this paragraph. The Russian, and I'm quoting, the Russian Federation provides support to its compatriots living abroad in a fulfillment of their rights to ensure the protection of their interests and the preservation of their Russian cultural identity, the policy said. So basically, if you are an American and if you somehow you live in Canada, you should be allowed to still live and you know, follow or do your religion, practice your religion, and you know, observe your religion, or observe your beliefs and practices, and observe your tradition, without being afraid that those guys, wherever you might be caught, will infringe that. And if not, I don't know, I guess United States would come and take over Canada or something. I don't know, let's see what these guys are saying. Putin has for years been highlighting what he sees as the tragic fate of some 25 million ethnic Russians who found themselves living outside Russia in newly independent states where the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, an event he has called a geopolitical catastrophe, which I think it was. And remember, 25 million people might sound not much for a, let's say, a country of 340 million, and they say, okay, it's two states of Michigan, two Michigan states. Okay, what a big deal. Nothing. Yeah, but it's 2.5 Hungaries, it's half of Ukraine, it's half of Poland, more than half of Poland, more than Romania. So many countries in Europe don't even have 25 million people. So there's big country. That if you have a country of 25 million, I think it would be on like 25 or not 50th position in the world or something like that, or even better than that. So it's not a you know, and these are people in other states currently living, and they're influenced by other cultures and other things. So yeah, that's a catastrophe from that standpoint. Imagine that you right now are caught in China. And they have their traditions, they have their way of living, and you live over there. Yeah, you can have your tradition, but you send your kid to school. Your kid is going to watch Chinese movies or whatever. Your child is going to have Chinese friends. Is he going to be an American? He's going to have the same values? No, he's going to have different values, like a Chinese. Is that good? No, but you have a choice. And my choice is to have my kids be and follow be raised in my traditions. Otherwise, I would be, I say, I don't want to be American, I'm Chinese now. I'm just saying, okay, this is what the catastrophe was, one little bit of it. Russia has continued to regard the former Soviet space, from the Baltics to Central Asia, as its legitimate sphere of influence, a notion fiercely resisted by many of those countries as well as the West. You see, Russia cannot have spheres of influence, only certain countries can have. And if you interact and you get over those spheres, you are intruding. But you know what I mean? Like, remember the Monroe Doctrine. You couldn't access, Europeans cannot go there because it was our backyard. Really? For how many years was that? So Russia cannot have it. And when was South America compared with in a position, geographical position with the United States? Let's say Chile. It was down there, and that was its the policy Monroe, under the Monroe policy. Really, how close proximity was that? And Russia, that is next to all these countries, you can't have sphere of influence. You know how this works. China has sphere. Japan had. Remember Japan? Yeah, and not only, I don't have to go to Germany and France. Look at Napoleonic Wars. What were those? Look at the great British Empire, for God's sake. I mean, please, even Belgium had colonies in Africa. Belgium, look at where Belgium is now. Can you find it on the map? It's like a city. Even, let's get Portugal, the same, small. South, Brazil. What about Brazil? Brazil was under Portugal rule, right? That's why they speak Portuguese. They don't speak Spanish. And, you know, so sphere of influence, bye-bye. Oh, nobody has spheres of influence right now. Ask the Americans, who have, what, 150 bases outside of their states. Why? Because they just like the weather over there? Yeah. It's said Moscow should further deepen its ties with Abkhazia and Ossetia. Now, they say here, two Georgian regions. I would say no. I don't think they're Georgian regions, but I don't care actually, you know what I mean? Recognized as independent by Moscow after its war against Georgia in 2008. I'm not going to get into that thing because this guy is just pointing everything at Russia, and actually it was Georgia attacking everybody else. So they started the aggression, and they got kicked in the teeth, and then they were crying for their bosses, America, and America was afraid to act then, and then Saakashvili got punched in the teeth and got a bloody nose, and he was eating his thigh on television. Just watch that video. And he was educated in the United States. Don't you think he was on the payroll? Okay, no. Where is he now? He was a chief of an oblast in Ukraine until about, I don't know, 7 years, 5 years. How? From the president of Georgia got to be a chief of an oblast governor of an oblast in Ukraine as a Georgian citizen in Ukraine, and then he disappeared. I don't know where it's at right now because he was kicked out of that because of his beautiful policies. He wanted to commit suicide one time. It was another video on YouTube. If you watch him on trying to throw himself off a building, but he didn't because weasels are weasels. I'm not saying he should, but why was he doing that? And it was in Ukraine. So it says, as well as the two breakaway entities in eastern Ukraine, the self-styled Donetsk People's Republic and Luhansk People's Republic. Well, the thing is, the Russians will try to impose their way of life, their civilization, their tradition, their religion, which is not their religion. It's some people's in the Middle East religion, but that's how it goes. You actually, your gods are gone. Your gods, your tribe's gods, you just got rid of them. You picked some other tribe's gods because did you think about it? You think about it? Your family's gods, your ancestors, you just got rid of them and you got someone else's gods. All right, and that's it with this one. So anyway, Putin is signing that. I think it's excellent, and I think it's good. If they want to promote their way of living and push away the woke culture and all the whatever they consider being, deprived and all that, they have the right to defend their culture, and nobody should dictate how good or how bad. They can say, but they cannot dictate. They should take care of their little garbage they have. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.